Good
I
riddance,
had a
good night.
great 2020, and I kind of feel bad about it.
All right. Greetings, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Heroes Peak podcast. I am your host, Chris, here with a crew and today we're specifically going to talk about Wonder Woman 84. That's what we're here to talk about. It is technically an official show. It's not a quick peek, but it will be as long as we feel like it goes. Today with me to have this conversation is James. How you doing, James?
3 days later.
What up?
Also, actually having watched the movie we're going to talk about, it's Brooks. How you doing?
Great. Feeling good about the fact that I actually did my homework assignment.
Wonderful. And so is HBO. They're very happy to have you.
I haven't read it yet, though.
And Mike. How you doing, Mike?
Hey, I'm good. Last week was supposed to be our last show of the year, and it was supposed to be bye-bye 2020. But damn, if this stuff, the news, these movies and shows keep coming out that we just need to talk about, right?
Well, we had we made a note that Wonder Woman 84 and Soul, Pixar Soul, were going to be coming out on Christmas, and that we weren't going to put them in our lists. We weren't sure where they were going to land.
Yeah.
And maybe at the end of the episode, we'll ask you guys if they changed your choices for the end of the year. But first, before we do that, we actually have to talk about this movie, Wonder Woman 84, released simultaneously in the theater and on HBO Max.
Wonder Woman. Yep.
Director Patty Jenkins back for the second iteration of the character, and of course Gal Gadot in the lead role. And amazingly, immediately within 2 days after the release, it's been announced that there's going to be a Wonder Woman 3 movie.
Wonder Woman 99.
Both Patty Jenkins and, of course, Gal
Wonder
Gadot
Woman forever
will be back. And the numbers that I've seen so far, basically 16 million domestic opening. Now, that doesn't sound like anything, except during COVID, it's the best domestic opening there has been.
Shit, that's really pretty good considering Tenet opening did like 1.5 million or something.
Right, yeah. So, I think Tenet was effectively 8 over a 4-day span weekend or something like that. And, I lost his name, Tenet. What's his name?
Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, Christopher Nolan, I think, was seen running down the street in a drunken haze, being very mad that he didn't save cinema, that it's actually Wonder Woman. No,
I feel like that was a joke, but
it was supposed to be. It didn't go anywhere.
I didn't even hear you. What did you say?
Just ignore it. We're moving on.
It was a shot at Christopher Nolan.
I was gonna say he was rolling over in his grave, but he's not dead, so that doesn't really make any sense. Okay, keep going. It also the other number I saw was like 550,000 new mobile downloads for the HBO Max app. That does not include any of the television apps like Roku and Apple TV and all that.
Well,
So-
hang on, 550K
550,000 new downloads for the
app.
For the app. That's not the number of people who watched it on the app. That's just how many new people downloaded the app.
Yeah, I'm more interested in new subscriptions, right? Like
That's what. Well, if you download the app, the assumption is it's probably someone who either has it and wasn't watching it, or just got it. So it's most likely. And with the response of how quick they came out with the Wonder Woman 3.
But to be fair, I'm going to divide that by 3 since you're allowed 3 users on your account, right? Like Netflix, we have one account here for 4 devices, 4 users at once. So I don't know. Same with Disney Plus. Like, why would I buy? You know what I mean?
Right, but it's just that it doesn't count for Roku's and other stuff. So it's just showing you that she did have it. The release of it on HBO Max had an impact. Some people went to the theater. Some people downloaded an app, and she got butts watching HBO Max, and that's what they want.
By the way, HBO Max, if you're listening, there's no app for the Fire Stick. Why is that? Come on.
No, there's an HBO Max app. For
Really,
my
I couldn't
Fire
find
Stick.
it.
You got to search for it. You actually have to search. You can't. It never came up in the most used app list. It didn't. Come
Oh, I
up.
went to the .com website to look for it.
No, I watched it on my Fire Stick.
Okay. Well, so did I, but not through HBO.
Oh,
I would be curious.
I had a
as
special
to,
Patty Jenkins invitation. Sorry,
Okay.
go ahead, Brooksy.
I was gonna say I would be curious as to what the HBO Max churn is after 1 month.
I saw numbers. HBO Max is a pretty new app, so they don't really have churn numbers. But things like
they have them. They're just not releasing
Right,
them.
no. Well, the numbers I saw were like Netflix has an abnormally low amount of churn. It's like under 4%.
Mhm.
It's just people just have Netflix and have had Netflix and are not getting rid of Netflix.
Oh, I'll go months without watching anything on Netflix, and then I'll watch it religiously for a while because all this new stuff, all this stuff I need to catch up on, right? So
I didn't even think about Netflix. I just know it's there.
yeah,
Right.
And like with my Disney Plus after the Mandalorian season 1, I was like, should I even bother like keeping in this and paying for this? Like, what else am I watching? But I kept it. I mean, I'm kind of glad I did, right?
Yeah, the other numbers I saw were Hulu had about average, which I think they said is about 5.5% or so churn. With Disney Plus slightly over that, but Disney Plus in my house, because I have so many different people, everybody watches something different.
Yeah.
Hulu, HBO, or Netflix, or Disney Plus, or whatever. And then the highest amount of churn so far was Apple Plus, Apple TV Plus.
Don't have that.
Because it's just so far they don't have a catalog. It's like a show that's interesting that gets some buzz. People go in, watch the show. So yeah, that's that's what the churn is look like. If I find that number, I'll send it off to you. But that's what I saw. It definitely had the Netflix had the lowest, but HBO Max I think wasn't near that. Nobody's near that level right now.
Yeah, that is fair. Netflix, I mean, that's where they get their bread and butter is subs, right? They don't do ads, so it's all about subs.
And they've been around the longest. People have had it for so long. Once you had something for like 5 years, you're not gonna just drop it.
That's fair.
So like when Netflix streaming started in the US, we didn't get Netflix streaming in Canada. Like we never had DVD mail service for Netflix in Canada. We had there was another company doing mail DVDs at the time, and I think I had signed up like day one when Netflix Canada finally came, streaming, and it was like $7.99 for like 4 screens HD, and now I'm paying like $17 a month or something.
Yeah,
now, they just raised their prices.
We're up to like 15, which is like the highest. We actually dropped down to 2 screens, so we're down to like 13 or 12 or something like that. But I've actually now that we're down to 2 screens, I have run into that cap. But because I have Hulu and all the other ones, it doesn't matter. It's like, oh, okay, so I can't watch that show tonight. I've got 50 other shows I'm supposed to be watching. So yeah, I was looking to see if I could find that number. Anyway, so I think we're going to get right into Wonder Woman 84.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
You've heard of this. You've seen this, right? You know what that is.
It is unavoidable. It is your destiny.
Is this not why you are here?
Do or do not. There is no try.
Knock that shit off.
I'm going to go around the horn here, and I'm going to ask you to give me what you think the summary, a quick 2 minutes each, what you think the summary of the movie was. Because I think they'll all be slightly different.
Roxy?
I just got nervous.
What do you mean, a plot summary?
Yeah, like what if someone said, describe Wonder Woman to me, Wonder Woman 84 to me, how would you reply in like 240 characters kind of thing?
Oh, okay.
Mike, go ahead.
Wonder Woman's been sulking for 70 years. hiding her away in a museum. And all of a sudden, she puts on her costume to fight criminals at the mall. And then there's the magic stone that appears that grants wishes. And she wishes for Steve Trevor to come back. And he takes over some dude's body. And they get it on, even though he's in another dude's body. And meanwhile, you got
Sam Beckett says hi.
Yeah, Maxwell Lord, who knows about the stone. He takes it and wishes for a million infinite wishes, basically, by taking the stone's power. And now he's granting everybody's wishes, but taking something in return. So it's kind of like the monkey's paw.
Okay.
And then we got Cheetah, and so Wonder Woman is trying to stop these bad guys. The end.
Okay. That's it sounded like Wonder Woman 84.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Brooks, what is your plot summary for Wonder Woman 84? See if it's any better than Mike's.
This is really James's wheelhouse, I will say. But
no, James will go on. He won't be 240 characters. He'll be 240 pages.
Oh, I'm gonna be this one. I'm going to be short in this one. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So it starts. We've got Wonder Woman at the Louvre. Let's see. She's at the Louvre.
Not the lube, Mike.
Oh, not
Louvre.
the
Louvre.
Okay. She in the bathroom the whole time? Jesus. Let's
The
go.
Louvre. And God, now I have to remember. Yeah, it was this weird part where she like puts her costume on and she's like Spider-Maning through old malls. And then she
Don't forget the flying.
Spider-Maning.
No, later when you get to that.
Oh,
Don't
right.
forget-
She does.
All right,
don't
let
have
her
that.
let her tell her tale.
And then her coworker comes across this stone and she understands, she speaks Latin. Well, I guess no one actually speaks Latin because it's a dead language, but she reads Latin.
Latin's
and
a dead language.
that's what my Latin teacher always taught me in seventh
That's what
grade.
everybody says. It's a dead
Latin's
language.
a dead language.
No, Sumerian is a dead language because no one speaks it. Latin is still they still have masses in Latin.
Yes.
That's fair. That is fair.
Sorry, go ahead. Now I'm
Money
doing
has
it.
Latin.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
you're
I'm
mansplaining.
sorry.
Can I wish I had control so I could just mute all of you guys.
Oh, that would be a
anyways.
better show.
So she understands Latin, makes a wish. Her wish comes true. It's for her old boo to come back. He does. Her coworker makes a wish to be just like her, but she doesn't know that she's got power, that Wonder Woman has powers. And then Homeboy gets a hold of the stone and becomes the stone, essentially, and then goes and reaches millions of people and has them make wishes. And then he takes their powers somehow, something like that, and makes him more powerful. And then she has to renounce her wish in order for her power to come back because she starts losing her powers. But she doesn't want to because her wish is for her love. And then eventually she does, and then she has to fight that girl, the coworker, who apparently is somebody in the comic book that I just don't know about. So she has to fight the coworker. She does. She has to fight Homeboy that becomes a stone. She fights him. And let's see, at some point she's flying through the sky, which was really just out there. And then, the whole world goes back to normal and everything's good again.
All right, I love it.
The end.
I love the
Thank you.
coworker. That's how I'm gonna.
I mean, it technically was her coworker.
That's right. It's like when Thor yells, "Hey, that's a friend from work." They should have had that line in there.
So there's a friend from work.
A work colleague. Yeah.
All right, James, give us the actual rundown.
What's my limit? 242 words? All right. Make it real simple. A man who aspires to live the American dream and start up a business while reconnecting with his son.
Is this Reagan?
Reconnecting with his assumed adopted son. Gets caught up in a bitter feud between a woman having a midlife crisis that feels no one respects her, and another woman whose heart's been broken for 80 years and feels like she's having a midlife crisis of her own on whether she's a superhero or not. Ultimately, this man's dreams fails, but he still reconnects with his son at the end.
Wow. Tight. That's a tight. That was like less than 30 seconds. I'm going to give you
It's a record for me.
It is. So, how we're actually going to talk about what actually happened in this movie. Let's start with this. Did you guys think that the opening in Themyscira, because none of you mentioned this, the opening in Themyscira actually gave you something good towards the movie and the plot and the theme, or was a waste of time? Because this was an argument I've seen online. So in the beginning, baby, little girl, Wonder Woman, Diana, is part of an Olympic type event, and she kind of falls off her horse, sidesteps a couple of parts of the event, and gets told you were cheating, so you can't win. Do you think this helped towards the theme, or is this just superfluous? Oh,
well, it brought us an intro to the lesson of the movie, right? That cheaters never prosper, basically. So necessary, I don't know, maybe a little too long. You know, like get to it, but I could see, like, if she's trying to introduce the overall message, then you bring it out in the beginning quickly and you move on from it, right? But
I thought it was interesting because it connected this movie to the last one. To me, visually, like, actually, you know, we see the same kind of characters. So I thought that was interesting. I get the whole lesson thing. It just felt a little corny, maybe a little cheesy to me. I also just thought the movie was too long in general. So, but I wouldn't have taken out the beginning scene because I liked that the best. I probably would have taken out, you know, maybe some of her Spider-Maning through the mall or something like that. But
okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I get it. It connected it.
All right, James, you were shaking your head.
Yeah, I was shaking my head at Mike's comment about the lessons, tying in the lessons of the movie. I would agree if Robin Wright's character had actually showed why her cheating would result in a negative consequence in either the race or the competition, which wasn't clear. Like, to me, she was going to win if not for Robin Wright. No one would have been smarter for it at all. So it didn't really show me the value of you can't cheat to win, because there was no rules there other than Robin Wright saying, no, that's not how it is.
No,
to me, it doesn't tie into the central, because in the movie they show you if you cheat by using the stone, there's a consequence.
Right.
The opening scene didn't show me that. Now, I was nodding at Brooks because my favorite part of the entire movie was the opening scene.
Yeah, mine too.
Not only did it tie in the last movie, but it showed me the promise of what Wonder Woman's character can and will be, you know, before I saw the rest of the movie. And I was floored. I was like, you know, bam, high-fiving Eric, let's go, clapping. And unfortunately, to me, that peak was short-lived, because then it went to, like Brooke said, the Spider-Man, the mall, and everything. And
that part just seemed a little unnecessary.
I think that part of the movie was greatly done, just to showcase her backstory and her potential as Wonder Woman. But unfortunately, that to me was like, they blew their load right there in the beginning of the movie.
I think if you're gonna show that section, and to James's point, the why did she lose, I think it was right there. All the elements were right there, and all that had to happen was that when she threw that spear, let her throw the spear, and yet, like, whatever buzzer or ringing or cheers don't happen for her. She just doesn't win. Then the other girl comes behind her and throws a spear and wins. And then Robin Wright points up to those banners that kept coming down, showing which targets they hit. Whenever they hit a target and the smoke would go up and the banner would come down, she'd be like, it's right there. You didn't actually complete all the tasks. Yes, I could sidestep that whole race and walk over here and throw the spear, and I would finish, but that doesn't mean I won because I didn't complete the tasks necessary set up that everybody else had to do. I took a shortcut. So it was there. I think they tried to do that, but I don't think just telling her she cheated. Now, I think all the information was there for everybody. The smoke, the banners, yes, it's cool. Oh, she was able to sidestep, but like we see pictures of people, this person cheated on a marathon. They got on a bus and they got to the end. Well, is the point of the marathon getting to the end? No, the point of the marathon is running the distance and getting to the end, like the actual part of the race. Otherwise, the point is having Shaq punch everybody and then drop the basket, drop the ball in the basket multiple times until he has 100 points, right? That's not how you play the game. You have rules set up for a reason. So I think the information was there. I think it's a little unfair to say, the lesson wasn't there, because I've seen people say that. It was there. But if Patty wants to do that, I think everybody, just like you, James, it's a really bright, interesting world. It's something we don't see anywhere else. It's fun. Everybody enjoys what they're watching. But like Brooke said, I think if you're gonna take 15 minutes there, you gotta cut it elsewhere. We love long movies, but man, did this movie,
it just felt really long. Like at some point I was like almost uninterested anymore. Like, all right, I've been sitting here for too long.
Longer than Infinity War, I think.
It was longer than Infinity War.
But Infinity War I enjoyed. And I don't even know half the backstory of Infinity War, and I still enjoyed it.
So part two, it's actually interesting that they did this. They went right from an action set piece, for all it is.
Chris, but before because it's in the back of my head here as you were talking. Mm-hmm. I think a better way of doing it, and giving shout outs back to Christopher Nolan, who you dissed earlier, was in The Dark Knight Rises, my least favorite of the three, but it had some very good moments to close out the trilogy. When he was in the pit, and after that second failed attempt, he blacks out and he's remembering his dad talking to him, "Why do we fall? To get lift ourselves back up." And then that segues directly into him realizing that he's got to climb and he's got to release his fears and everything. That's a better tie-in to a message that was kind of thrown away at the beginning of a movie to now at the epic moment of the movie, you're trying to tie that in. I don't think Patty had the good balance of that scene and that moment with anywhere else in the and I get it, the message is there, but it's not like thrown into the movie where it's like you feel it.
It's not like there's a mirror of, oh, hey, when she was a kid, she went through something similar. I mean, the competition versus what she was going through, you can say they're kind of the same. They're about truth and whatnot, but it's you're kind of stretching that idea.
So I wonder, though, if she should have, Patty should have put that scene somewhere after Diana realized she had made a mistake with her wish.
Are you guys really into the flashback in the middle of the movie?
No, I'm not.
It depends. Like, most of the time I'm not. Sometimes it works, though, but...
Sometimes it works. I mean, I guess if you were really deft at it, and like you said, James, him remembering what his dad said.
So for me, it works when it's like a good, like an important reveal or something, to the story.
Yeah, I'm not sure failing to win an Olympic Games is really close enough to the situation. It didn't, I don't know. But
it also didn't feel like she was trying to cheat. Like, she didn't necessarily want to cheat. She just felt like she found a shortcut because she got knocked off her horse. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, I want to cheat and win. And like, it didn't
like the stone gave her an opportunity to bring back her true love, right? But if she wasn't cheating death, it was an opportunity that arose.
But Robin Wright didn't say...
She didn't know it would work to begin with.
Robin Wright didn't say, there are no shortcuts, Diana. You can't. She said, you're cheated. And if cheaters don't win. Like, that's a slightly different lesson.
Yeah, that is.
If
And
she
that-
would have if she would have said there are no shortcuts, that you're exactly right. That would have
I think
one phrase would have changed the whole
really
movie for
ties
me.
it in a little bit better to where she was
That's
going.
True.
Because you're right. I don't think nobody was the only person cheating was Max Lord.
Right. And he was purposely trying to do it. Like
Right.
he, you know, very maliciously was trying to do it. Whereas young Diana wasn't trying to be malicious at all. She like messed
Right.
up and was like, oh shit, how do I
Yeah.
fix this?
Yeah, if she like
Saw
kicked another,
something.
if she kicked one of the other Amazons off the horse and stole it and like took
Right.
her color and you
Right.
know, that would have been, it would have been like,
That
wait,
would've been-
Diana wasn't green. What's going on here? Yeah, see, that would have been cheating.
Right.
All right, so the
Yeah.
second part, now Brooks brought this up quite a bit, and this is where we feel, I think what I thought the whole movie was going to feel like was this whole opening sequence, which is Wonder Woman not hating humanity, not running away from humanity, but staying way in the background, saving people without anybody seeing her, and doing the whole Spider-Man thing, you know, with her lasso instead of the webbing, but you know, saving a falling bride and stopping a little robbery, and just all in all being a good public citizen behind the scenes without being the public face of being good. And then so we get this wonderful, what I thought was fun, a little campy, but I was into it. I was loving the enjoyment Diana was having stopping criminals, but not being angry Batman stopping criminals. She was like the guy pulled out a gun and she's like, really? You know, I love that look was great. And you know, she saved a little girl, she threw her into a teddy bear.
Chris, that's a look you'd give when you know how much power you're a demigod.
Which is great.
Yeah, unlike Batman has to use his wits and whatever. It's a little different, you know. It's
yeah, no, I know, and that's why I liked it. I liked the fact that there was a power level difference, and she was not bashing people in the face. She had no worries. She had zero worries about what these guys could do and how she could handle it. So it was an interesting setup to her in her current form. She didn't look like a woman who was crying her eyes out at night because her lost boyfriend. She looked like someone who was getting on with her life, just not with her love life. Like
not socially, just yeah.
Yeah, but she was being Wonder Woman, but she wasn't out and about. Like at the end of, was it at the end of Wonder Woman 1 where she was standing on the top of the tower?
Yes, she got the letter from Bruce Wayne.
Yeah,
did a huge leap.
It felt a little off from these, like the beginning of this and that feels like two different things to me. But it's not like she was in a public crowd, so maybe it's not. But so, what did you guys think of this mall scene of Diana? It felt really campy. It felt really bright and poppy. And 1980, like they threw 1984 in your face as much as they could.
It almost felt like somebody who was not alive in 1984 who was trying to recreate this mall scene. Like it felt like too much over the top.
Movie 1984. Like, definitely movie 1984.
Yeah, like way too over the top. Like as someone who was alive in 1984 and went to malls at the time, that's not. It is what a mall looked like, but it was, you know, really exaggerated.
Where were all the goths? Where were all the goths walking around?
I think Stranger Things did it better.
Yes,
when it comes to the recreation of like the malls and the stores and stuff.
Agreed. Felt more organic.
Yeah. And there was no Sanrio surprises. You can't have a mall with no Sanrio surprises. Come on.
So
ridiculous.
Yeah. Hey, they had Orange Julius. That's all that matters to me.
They did have that.
Orange Julius is all that mattered. But yeah, it felt very much like a comic book 80s mall, right? Yeah. It just felt fun. All right, so she does this thing, and she's a hero. She's out and about, and now we start moving, and now the rest of it feels like separate movie. Like from this point out, like it becomes she's going to work, Diana, and she meets Cheetah. She's not Cheetah yet. It's
Barbara Minerva,
her coworker.
her co-worker, Barbara Minerva, played. What did you guys think of I lost her. Mike.
Kristen Wiig.
Kristen Wiig. What did you guys think of Kristen Wiig the character of Minerva and her transformation into Cheetah eventually? What did you guys
James.
think?
No. James, you want to mute? Maybe. He's busy parenting over there.
All right.
So I thought Kristen Wiig was fine. She's I'm a fan of hers. Like I think she's hilarious when she does comedy and she does a decent drama from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, like, if the character, like, I wasn't really, like, when it comes to this character in this movie, I don't know, maybe I feel like it's missing something, or I don't know how to describe it though, but like it wasn't complete or something. I don't know.
Okay.
Kristen Wiig.
Yeah, we're talking about
Minerva character.
Character, Kristen Wiig's acting, and her transformation into Cheetah.
I felt like she played the shy nerd really well, but didn't make that leap to this like brilliant, beautiful, super outgoing, really popular woman.
And I don't think I bought the evil. Like, I didn't see it through her. Like that, the evil towards the end. Like, I didn't buy it either.
Yeah.
Well, a point I saw made online was that really they don't portray anybody as evil.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no matter what the deed anybody was pulling, there was no evil character. So I don't think you were supposed to, in Patty Jenkins, comic booky, every, Wonder Woman vision is that there's no evil in the world, just misunderstood, bad decisions, nothing you can't come back from. James, what did you think?
I was gonna first disagree with you, but then I recall like Captain America: Civil War, where even Baron Zemo, you can kind of see that he was misguided a lot, but he had a point that he thought he was doing right, by his family and Sokovia. So that movie worked pretty well for not having an actual true evil villain like the other Avengers movie, whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But I think going back to this movie is you don't really set, like, at least in Captain America: Civil War, you knew where each side stood and you knew diametrically opposed how they were. Whereas Barbara, I didn't really see, other than her saying, "I don't want the wishes to be rescinded," her really having any animosity towards Wonder Woman. That entire fight at the end didn't make any sense. Even if you want to put the theory that the wishing stone was taking away her humanity, so she became like apex predator or whatever. That to me didn't seem like the end game for her. Like, you should be standing by what's his name, Maxwell Lord, and bodyguard and make sure that he's fine, instead of doing what she did in that movie. There's some logic there that didn't hit me, with her as a villain and her role once she became, Cheetah. And then, we're not even talking about the CGI and special effects, but, I didn't get it.
Yeah, I agree.
I've loved her since SNL. I know she can hold a role. I think maybe the script hurt her, not so much.
That's what I was saying. Like, something was missing, but I don't blame her. I
don't blame her either. I agree with you in that.
Well, I think again, I think it comes down to not letting her go far enough as Cheetah. So you get the standard. This is a very stock character. So we got the same thing in Spider-Man 3, in Batman Forever, and the nerdy, smart, wears glasses, bad hair. Nobody notices that what they're doing. I mean, this is a standard stock character trope. And then they look at the hero. The hero talks to them once. They become infatuated, and then they turn evil for some reason.
Incredibles. Remember Incredibles?
Incredibles, right. Buddy. But she did fine in the role. I walked through it with her, but again, I don't think they went. I think the whole middle section with her being like, I just want to be like Wonder Woman, and she's strong and she's fast and they spend a lot of time with this part of her being like popular and everything like that. But in this weird section, Diana kept looking at her like something was wrong when she was like holding a crowd, having a conversation. Like Diana was definitely, I know she was worried about the stone, but like there wasn't anything wrong with her at that section. Like did you feel like the movie kept trying to say something was going wrong with her when you're like, it's fine? Like,
yeah,
good for her.
I get what you're saying. Like, you almost feel like, oh, this is a really great thing that happened to her. So
yeah, she got some confidence. She just got some confidence.
Yeah, she can stop right there. Don't go any further.
Exactly.
Stop right there.
Right?
There you go.
You know, I don't know. But yes, it's supposed to be that she just, that little bit, and what the stone, I think what I'm missing here is the stone is supposed to be having an exchange. We talk about the monkey paw thing where you ask for something and it gives it to you, unlike other things where it's like, haha, I'm going to give you the wrong thing you think you want, but you're going to get this other thing. But no, it gives you exactly what you asked for, but it takes something. But I don't think the movie was really direct with that. It really kind of wanted to slowly piece that together for you. Oh, look, Diana's slowly losing power. Oh, look, Minerva's slowly turning bad. No, I just show me the thing glow whenever Minerva does something slightly bad. Show it glow when Wonder Woman gets hit and she's like, oh man, oh my God, I'm bleeding. What's going on? Like, give me more. If you're going to be poppy and fun in the beginning and you're going to be bright and direct with the theme, you're going to tell me what the theme is, then keep being direct with me. Keep that whole thing going. Don't all of a sudden try to be this low key, kind of movie. Just be direct and be quick about it. Like this very slow roll for these characters, and felt long. The whole Max Lord, we're gonna get to Max Lord next. Max Lord was like, okay, so he's got a kid, all right, but then like he meets with his kid like 4 or 5 times, and sometimes he's nice, sometimes he's mean.
No one's even watching this kid. His mom's not around.
I know, this kid just appears.
He just like appears at the right.
Yeah.
And it's not like I ever felt a huge connection. And Pedro Pascal is also a great actor, but even when he was like asking his kid to love him or whatever, I didn't feel like there was a connection between those two. It did not feel it. Put baby Grogu in his hands and I would have felt that more. And I don't know if it, and I don't think that's the kid, and I don't think that's Pedro Pascal. I think there's some part of the script or something missing to make a connection for those characters. What did you guys think of Max Lord, Pedro Pascal, and possibly his son, if you want to talk about it? Brooks, I'm going to go to you first.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't feel that connection. Although to sort of piggyback on what you were saying, I did feel like, what am I trying to say? Like when Wonder Woman got her power or was losing her powers, you could really see that happening. Like there was this direct correlation. But when the
Cheetah, you can say Cheetah.
Cheetah, yeah. I didn't feel like she was you couldn't see her losing her humanity. Like that wasn't super obvious. Aside when she beat up that bum, that homeless person. Whoa.
No, it was the drunk dude. It was the drunk guy who tried to attack her earlier.
But also good for her. I'm glad she did that.
Mm-hmm.
But so then going to Max Lord and his son. Even though I definitely did not feel the connection, and it was like this weird thing where all of a sudden his son would just be there from time to time, and you're just like, is he homeless? Does he just appear on the doorstep? Where is he coming from? It was such a random thing that he would just appear. At least there's something tangible, he's losing the connection with his son, or he's losing his son, and that's something people can feel, whether or not you could actually feel it through the movie, which you could not. you could at least understand that. You know what I mean?
All right, James.
I mean, Maxwell, I'm a huge fan of Pedro Pascal, and I think that, yeah, his character is a little hammy. The same plot points I have with Cheetah Girl, I have with him too. Although I think they showed you more because of the story and the script. They gave you more information on how he devolved into who he was near the end of the movie. It almost felt like to the point that he was the main star of the movie because he had the most screenplay, the most time. So I can't fault that part of the movie. I just didn't see, honestly, the whole third act, it started falling apart. Like when he went to the White House, I get what he was doing. He was working his way through the power of the wishing stone to get what he ultimately wanted. But then it went from like, okay, you originally just wanted to get some money, have a business, and be able to be close to your son. Now you're just like going on a wishing spree to end world war. Like, what is he doing? Like, president said he wanted nuclear missiles. He gave him that, but now you're reaching out to everybody in the world and having them wish more and more. It was just, I'm like, I'm done with this. This is just lost. And I know Pedro, he was, he's emoting, right? He's doing whatever he could with a terrible wig of his. And he's doing what he could. And then you finally get to the end. We get to him and his son. And I just felt so fake. And so chemistry wasn't there. And I'm like.
Do you think that went too big? Like, do you think it was unnecessary to get to the point where we were going to have a nuclear war? Like, if they had just gone to like, oh, you're overstepping your business bounds and now you're going into, I don't know, you're going to take over Texas or whatever, something too far, but
localized.
Yeah, I think this individual stories are better when they're smaller, like when they can tighten up. Even Wonder Woman 1 in World War One felt like a very localized story. It's not like she went out and she went to every battlefield in World War One. She was on one battlefield and had one battle in one town and then fought one bad guy. Like, very tight, very small. Even if it had a larger world impact, it was a lot tighter. This one, I think, just it spiraled out of control at the end. And I think it was supposed to, but I don't think it helped the story.
No.
I agree with you.
All right, Mike, Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, the only thing I'm going to add is, like, yeah, I didn't understand, like, I know he wanted to be successful and rich and wanted his son to be proud of him, but like James was saying, after a certain point, he pretty much got all that. And then, you were saying that nobody was evil, or no, technically nobody was evil in the movie, but after that point, when you're still going because you want more and more and more, doesn't that make you evil now?
Yeah, see, that seems more like a greed.
Yeah, but he wanted others to want more and more as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's the part that confused me. It wasn't just him being 100% selfish. He wants everyone to be wishing as well. That's now we got really understand. What the hell is a stone giving you? If it's taken away but giving you or taken away, there's got to be a short cycle somewhere.
So there's two things that were mentioned in the movie that I think that they could have gone either direction and explained something a little bit more better, or given us some more or something. So for whatever reason, they spent time on this warrior armor that came into play for like 10 seconds. Mm-hmm. But they mentioned that this stone landed with like the Mayans, and it landed with all these civilizations that ended up dying, right? And then she said something about the stone being made of
the gods, I think.
Lies by one of the gods. But that was it.
Right.
But like, it's like, is that bad? Is that good? Like, I know it's probably not good because of the way the stone works, but what's that mean? Does it mean anything? Are you just dropping this because it? What? It's like this left little trail that never got followed. Like,
yeah, it would have been interesting to like deep dive into that a little bit more.
Mm-hmm, yeah. I think they tried to say, oh, so everywhere the stone goes, it manages to destroy every civilization. Okay. Like, what does that mean to me?
Right.
I don't know.
Because of greed, apparently.
Right, but
Which I get.
greed isn't necessarily cheating, isn't necessarily true. There's some nuance to these lessons, and you have to be more specific with your lessons so that they connect from one end to the other. Right?
Yeah, and I think that's what was missing from this movie, like a connective.
It's really sharp connective tissue.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
It was left too ambiguous to figure out on your own, which
Mm-hmm.
clearly that didn't work for everyone.
All right, we got to do Gal Gadot. I love Gal Gadot. She can't do anything wrong for me, so I'm going to let you guys talk about it because I thought she was perfect. This is her best acting gig, to be honest. Like, she did sad.
Hold on. She was in Fast and the Furious. So let's not forget that.
No, but I mean, like,
it's not like she was great in that.
Her acting in the first Wonder Woman was good. This one, I think she even found another level where she was able to find different emotions that she wasn't necessarily portraying in the first one. So I thought those were good. She still hasn't portrayed anger at all. I don't think she's ever really been angry at anybody in any of these movies.
She's too pretty to be angry. That's why.
It's tough because that's the stigma against Wonder Woman, unfortunately. Because once you start showing her angry, then it's, certain, portion of this population is going to be not at ease with that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a whole different issue. We can talk about another time. But,
James, go ahead. What did you think of Gal Gadot's performance?
I was back and forth on this a lot since I've seen the movie, but I'm still sticking to my original instinct. I think she did a pretty good job. My favorite part, actually, other than the first 15 minutes, was when she had to rescind her wish. And when she's talking to Steve and she walked away, I felt, and I know Keith said the opposite, it did nothing, but for me, I felt it. It resonated. Like her face, her closing her eyes, her walking away was, to me, like, I felt her pain. Like, I felt she's really going through it,
Yeah,
like,
from pain to resolve. It was a nice.
Correct. Like, that entire moment to me, and then before the whole flying thing, I was like, wow, she's kicking ass. Like, it's really, really good. That's my second favorite part in the entire movie, other than the beginning, was her acting in that section of the movie. But I'm not gonna say she was super great, like she deserved an Oscar for her role. But yeah, I can't. Again, if I have any flaws in this movie, I'm not putting it on her shoulders, not at all.
All right, Brooks.
I agree. I think she's a great. I don't know if I would say a great actress, but she plays Wonder Woman very well.
Yes.
I watched the first one so I could understand the second one better. And I thought she was great as Wonder Woman. I, as a kid, watched Wonder Woman with, what's her name? Linda Carter, right?
Linda Carter, yes.
Made an appearance at the end, which I thought was so much respect. I love that. I don't know if we're not supposed to talk about that yet, but anyways.
We're all in spoilers. It's okay.
That's true. But she was the glue that kept the movie together for me. Like, I probably would have ended it early if she wasn't in the movie. I thought she was great in it.
All right, Mike.
Yeah, I'm pretty much on the same page. So when they had first announced Gal Gadot for Wonder Woman years ago, after seeing the Fast and Furious movies, I was like, I'm not so sure about this, but she surprised me. But
I say, ouch, Brooks.
No, I mean, come on. Like, the Fast and Furious movies are one thing. They're good action, fun movies, whatever. But, you're taking on the mantle of a classic, popular superhero, right? So, so I was like, I don't know if this is going to work. But she actually surprised me. She did well in the first movie, and as well as can be in Chris Terrio's movies. So, yeah. So, and then in this one, I think she just carried it forward. She added more range to her character, and so I think she pulled it off well. So,
all right, great. All right, so next, I want to ask you guys is about powers. There is a interesting thing where we saw a lot of this in the trailers. Her lasso goes as long as she wants it to go. Fine. She can lasso clouds and lightning. We saw all that. That was cool. But then they decided to make it so she had the ability to make things invisible, and also that she has the ability to fly, which why are you lassoing lightning if you can fly? I'm not sure. Like, they added a lot of overlapping powers here. And I don't really care if they kept it fun and campy and stuff like that. Give her all the abilities, whatever. Talk to animals, all that stuff weird stuff they do in the comics. But I just felt like the whole, like, it's a lot of doubling down. Like, does she need to lasso lightning if she can fly? Does she need an invisible jet if she can lasso lightning? Does she need, like, what? Did you guys think any of that was excessive, or?
Yeah. Well, let me go first this time. This is something that has been always. I'm talking to certain other nerds in the Marvel MCU. They call it power scaling, right? Chris, you know this, Mike. Marvel has always been accused of not having a proper power scaling, because one minute Spider-Man is like throwing trucks around, the next minute Star-Lord is put him in a headlock, which makes no sense. DC hasn't been as bad, especially with Superman, Batman, whatever. But I think for the first time in this movie, I don't know what was going on with the script, and that I think they wanted better action scenes in the first movie. They were trying to get to No Man's Land and one up it, because everyone said that was the moment that DC was finally here, and it wasn't up until that moment. So we saw the trailer. We did a reaction at Comic-Con earlier this year. When we saw her ride the lightning, we were like, oh, this is going to be kick-ass. But what we didn't realize that in the context of the entire story, that was just one of 50 different power moves that she was doing, which in some cases, like, she was pushing the truck, and that was pretty cool. She leaped, and then she was flying by using the currents, and then she was whipping bullets around with the lasso.
Oh yeah, and the she caught a bullet with the lasso. That was a bit.
Caught a bullet with the lasso, and I'm like, okay, what's the sense of it? You're as fast as the Flash, right? This movie. Forget about the fact that in JL, Justice League, clearly she's not that fast. She's not as fast as Man or the Flash. But in this movie, she reached OP status in this movie. Her power set. And I'm like, again, I've never really critiqued Marvel for their power scaling being off, and I wasn't going to critique this movie for her power sets being off. But when you showcase that in the middle of the movie, I have to look at it and have to focus on it. And I'm like, this is not going to be good for the fans.
Yeah, it didn't really affect my enjoyment of the movie, but I just noted it like, oh, you're going to do that?
Exactly.
All right. Well,
and then
we all know the jet was a throwaway to the cart. They had to have a scene with the jet.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that none of these powers will show up.
When she didn't have her sword in the first movie, in the third movie. Where was her sword in the second movie?
Yeah.
It was so important.
All right, Mike.
Yeah, that's all I was gonna say. Like, I was fine if you're gonna introduce these powers, but then they just kind of disappear when it comes time for the Justice League, right? So,
the real baddies.
Yeah.
All right.
That flight would have been useful against Doomsday. I don't know.
Well, that's the hard part about when you do things in different orders, as we've seen in the Star Wars realm, where all of a sudden powers seem to go up and down very heavily depending when something was made and
who's writing it.
Yeah. So Brooks, now as a non-comic booky person, did any of the powers stick out as really cool, or were they like, oh, that's kind of weird, excessive?
I liked the lassoing lightning. I thought that was pretty amazing. And it like fit her in a way, because I discovered by watching the first one that she is a goddess, which I did not know. And James has already made fun of me. So if anybody else wants to do it, go ahead.
Sorry.
But so it kind of in a weird way that like kind of makes sense. But the flying was too much, definitely. And then the making the plane invisible was also just felt like really over the top. But I wonder if that's going to come into play in the third movie, maybe. I don't know. It feels like that's kind of like a foreshadowing of something to happen. I could be wrong, but yeah, it just felt like there's like so many more powers. But again, like for me, I was like, oh, maybe that's her character because she's a goddess and she didn't even know it until she met Ares in the first one. So I don't know. I was like, maybe this is. Sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying maybe this is a thing where she just like gets more and more power because she like gets her god powers keep coming or something.
Well, what you have to know is that way back when, in what they call the Silver Age of comics, is these kind of heroes just got powers whenever they felt like it. Any kind of powers they wanted to give them for that episode, they would take powers away. They would hand it to them. Like I said, she can literally talk to animals. She's a princess in that way. She has, healed people, red and lightning. She has this thing where she's always getting tied up, and she cannot break out of her own lasso if a man ties her up. Yes, that is actually part of her character.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's and like it happens with like Superman too. Like Superman would be able to shoot mini Supermen with all of his powers.
Go back in time because he flies so fast.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I just hope it doesn't end up like Superman 2.
So
he was.
You mean Superman 1?
No. Superman 2 was even worse when he was fighting Zod.
Oh.
Christopher Reeve, when he was fighting Zod and he was teleporting and duplicating himself.
Oh, that was because of the Fortress of Solitude. That was
the Fortress of Solitude.
He took the S off his chest and threw it, and it became like
the giant, the sticky net.
Yeah, come on.
All right, so something Brooks brought up, and this is my next topic, is the Steve Trevor dilemma. So Steve Trevor, her great love gets wished back, and instead of just bringing the dude back from the dead, they stick him in another dude's body, and they make a point to show you. And my name today on the chat, I don't think anybody can see this, but it's Sam Beckett because of this, because a lot of people had a real issue with this. And maybe it's just I've seen this over and over and over again as a trope in television, whether it be horror movies or just regular TV or whatever, where people are constantly taking over other people's bodies, and you don't think about, oh my God, what is the backlash to being within someone else's body? Like they always make a joke about, don't look down my shirt, that kind of thing. But apparently this really got to everybody this time around. And I don't know if you guys really have an opinion to really talk about this. I think it's a little overblown for what it is.
I have an opinion. I think because this made its way deep into the zeitgeist, and people were reviewing it for whatever reason. I think it has to do with a product of 2020 versus when the movie was actually supposed to be around 1980s. It's no longer cool to seeing a person's body get taken over by another entity and then having sex with the person, and then for like a week act like there's no repercussions or ramifications to this character. I think it's stupid. I mean, you're watching a comic book based superhero movie. You got to suspend a lot of, disbelief. Like, you're right. Like in the 80s, we watched Quantum Leap. We watched many versions of this body snatching, body switching. I mentioned Big with Tom Hanks. So
look at Freaky. We just watched Freaky with Vince Vaughn, right?
Yeah, right. And that's an adult guy in a teenage girl's body.
Right.
What about Ghost?
You're right, Ghost.
Yeah, so it's done all the time, but
the point in society now.
The question I had was why? Like, why would he need to appear? I don't know.
Honestly, it didn't matter. At that point, you wouldn't argue that part of the movie. There's bigger issues to argue about the plot.
But that's a bigger issue to me than him actually being in another person's body, right?
But to others, instead of them looking at the plot, looking at the villain, they're looking at this particular part of the movie, and this is probably the most controversial part. If you go through fandom websites right now, it's the whole Steve Trevor thing that Chris is bringing up. To me, is ridiculous. Like, move on. It's
people are really upset by that.
Yes, really upset. It is
that like I didn't even like. I mean, I thought about it for half a second, but it just didn't.
You know why I'm
register.
upset? You know why I'm upset?
He was raped.
No, I'm upset because they brought Chris Pine back. They should have just let the guy be the guy.
Yeah, they were like, this dude Sam Beckett was raped by a Wonder Woman.
Although, like I said before, this is Chris Pine's least annoying performance to me. So, props for that.
Yeah, I mean, do you guys anybody watch Lucifer?
I used to.
I've seen the show, but
so on Lucifer in one of the earlier seasons, his mother is like the goddess of the creation, takes over a woman's body, and for multiple seasons, she has love interests, she has relationships, she's got to play this woman's family. They all know her. Like it is direct that she has taken over this person's body and life, and then when she gets sent back to wherever, this woman now has to deal with the consequences of all of this stuff that happened to her.
That
so
was
like
right around the time the Me Too movement started. I think it was right before that.
But not at no time have I seen a Lucifer chat group that talk that say, "Oh, this is the worst thing in the planet. How could they possibly do this?"
It's not as big as Wonder Woman. That's why.
Right. So it was weird. All right. The other thing about the Steve Trevor, and this is, I mentioned this in my review, is that there was a lot of relationship ogling in that they spent so much time, Diana and Steve, wandering around the mall, going to the
fireworks.
Right, fireworks, flying, going to
the damn Star Spangled Banner. You know what fireworks is.
That's right. Going to the Air and Space Museum, and it just felt like this relationship was built. We understand by the two of you being in bed together that you love each other. Oh, you want to show him an airplane? That's cool. But like, why was this section so long? This was the time eater for me. It was completely unnecessary to have all of this wandering around. There was some cool comedic effect when he was getting dressed, but that was really about it.
Even that was too long, that scene with the clothes.
Yeah, it was definitely too long. I get it because there was that scene in the end where homie comes back and he's in the same clothes. So I get the importance of it,
but you could have skipped like 2 outfits in that scene, and
6 or 7.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
by the way, that jet doesn't make it from DC to Cairo without refueling. So that's another thing that bugged me as a.
Well, and they don't stay fueled in the back of the Air and Space Museum. They don't keep jets fueled and ready to go.
Now you guys are being picky. Stop it.
So anyway.
Yeah, but those are things, as an airplane, I wouldn't say aficionado, but just as a fan of, air and space flight, right? It's those things that stick out, but whatever.
Yes, with your SDF-1 in the back over there and Veritech.
That's another story.
So yeah, the Steve changing scene is supposed to echo the one she did in the first Wonder Woman.
Right.
It's supposed to be a little bit of play on that, but yeah, I think
it was cute. I got it.
It was cute, but they spent too long.
Yeah,
too long with it.
Yeah, and so was, like I had mentioned before, like I was okay with him being like, "Ooh, everything's like new," because they did that in the first one as well.
Yeah, it's fun
with her. Yeah.
So it was a nice take on it. But yeah, it was a little too long. And you're gonna tell me like, because I also noticed that
he could fly a jet plane from having flown a World War I fighter. That does not work.
The weird thing was he appeared in the guy's body, then went to her apartment, and then went to her party.
Yeah, he was hunting her down somehow.
How did that work?
Yellow pages. He said, "I'd be using the yellow pages."
Right. So, but then he went to her apartment. And then he found her at the party. How did that? That one kind of threw me.
Yeah, the Yellow Pages doesn't say Diana Prince is going to be attending her work's party tomorrow night.
You guys, let it go. That's
no. Write the story properly.
Rational right now. I'm shocked, but no, that's not my big no. That's fine.
I have to say
they're not huge things.
They're the camera work around that, her realizing who it is. That was fun. I like that.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that was good. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I felt like what they were trying to do was set it up to show them kind of reconnecting to make when she had to like unwish her wish to make it sadder or, you know, more of a big deal.
Yeah, they needed more screen time together to make the effect of when she had. Yes, I agree with you.
Yeah,
Right.
but that's what the whole first movie, like when you have a second movie, the relationship you built there transfers over. So like in any of the Captain America movies, in Captain America Civil War, you don't have to spend a lot of time with Bucky and Cap together to know that Bucky and Cap are really tight friends, and you have a single flashback to show reacquaint everybody, but you already know that that relationship is there and Cap will do anything for him.
All right,
And
that's a
so
good point.
in this movie, you don't need 20 minutes of reassessing the relationship. You need a cute scene, a together scene, whatever, and then that you continue that thread from the. That's how you save time from movie to movie. You continue that thread, and so I thought they just spent way too long. Like, what if nobody's seen the first one? All right.
Yeah,
That's a
maybe
good point.
that was their thought. I don't know.
All right. And
By the way, real quick, one of my favorite scene, my third favorite scene was when Barbara's at the gym.
mhm.
Yeah.
Wayne.
That would be your favorite.
Yeah, I
That
thought the
was
same thing.
hilarious.
I said James was gonna love this part of the movie.
I loved it. Laughed my ass off.
Mm.
Go ahead, Chris.
All right. So I don't. The last thing we can talk about, I guess, is the end of the third act, where Wonder Woman cannot get near Pedro Pascal at full power, but somehow manages to wrap the lasso of truth around her leg, and then address the entire world with a long speech about loving one another or whatever. I honestly don't even remember what she said. And she manages to convince everybody on the planet to renounce their wish, including Pedro Pascal, in which we see his father abused him for peeing the bed. And
See, that's what I was talking about with a flashback in the moment, right?
He also
Yeah.
beat his mom too. There's a
So-
lot going on there. That all of a sudden
there was a
it got really
lot.
dark. They got back to Snyder level dark.
Yeah, and I thought that it's hard because I think that this is trying to be a positive world in which, yes, hey, there's this one superhero whose ability to be, you know, truth and justice and all this stuff, and has the ability to convince everybody to be a better person, is probably what they're trying to say. But it's a really hard sell this year. Really hard sell this year. And I was having trouble with it. I probably shouldn't have had as much trouble with it. But what did you guys feel about the way that ended that way?
Let me start. I like the ending of the first one better, where she just basically kicking more ass. That's what I wanted to see. Yeah.
I think that's what 90% of comic book movie
this
goers
was
want to get.
okay. It was just okay to me, right? Like,
I mean, she got in a fight with Cheetah, so you sort of had that, even if they turned the dimmer down way too low.
yeah, I noticed that too. I was like, man.
I don't know. I thought they could maybe merge those two, so there was some crossover between fighting Cheetah and trying to convince everybody. Like, it just felt like this thing, then this thing, then this thing.
I think Cheetah should have been in the studio with them, trying to defend Max, right?
And so she's giving her speech while she's defending herself.
Yeah,
While she's trying, something like that.
This is exactly what I said. To me, it would have made more sense if she's there, because the only real issue she had with Wonder Woman was making sure she couldn't renounce her wish.
Mm-hmm.
You got to guard the dude that's control of it. Why are you running around in mountains, jumping? Like, that didn't make any sense to me.
Wow.
Brooks, what did you think?
By the end, I was just so happy it was over. I was like, oh my God, whatever's happening, just let it happen. It just was 2.5 hours. It's a long time for me to sit still. There were so many different scenes that really could have been shorter or been cut, that by the end, literally, I was like, great, all done, good.
So, I mean, I'll probably watch it again, but this time at least I know where I can just like kind of
fast forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So now I think we're going to give our grades. Give your grades and maybe give a favorite scene. The scene that really stuck out to you. So Brooks, do you want to go first?
Sure. I give this one a B-.
That's a pretty decent grade for all the problems we've pointed out. That's a solid grade.
Right. I liked so my favorite scene was the very beginning scene with the race. Yeah, exactly. And like I think overall it entertained me. For as much as I'm saying like by the end I was like hurry up and just be done, it entertained me. It was really far-fetched, but I feel like a lot of comic or superhero comic movies are really far-fetched. It almost felt a little bit like a comic book meets Fast and the Furious. Like it was just so far out there that you know what I mean? You're just like, this is like so far, even for a comic book, it was like so far out there. But overall, it entertained me. I thought Wonder Woman, I am a big fan of Wonder Woman. Like I said, I used to watch it when I was younger, even though I somehow totally missed the fact that she was a goddess back then. And I like, you know, I'm all for the female superhero. So B-.
All right. Mike, what's your grade? What's your favorite spot?
So I think I'm gonna go C+
on
this one.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you what my favorite. Like I'll have to rewatch it again a couple times, and then I can, you know what I mean? I didn't hate it. I didn't think it was better than the first one. So I'm hoping, you know, WW3.
Yeah, that's why they called it 84 and not 2, because
comes out a little better. And the other thing, so I would like Patty Jenkins to not write the next one. She can direct the hell out of it. I would rather she just direct and have somebody
or have like a co-writer.
Yeah, something.
Give her something to be like.
Just not Chris Terrio.
Let's speed that up. Yeah.
Did she write the first one?
No.
Whoever wrote the first one needs to come back and write the third one.
Yeah, something.
And keep the studio out of it. Every time I see a note about what the studio wanted to remove from the movie, I'm like, these people have no clue what they're talking about.
Yeah,
don't let the studio touch it. She's fine, but she needs. It's like Lucas. Someone in there to tweak. She needs a Marsha Lucas. Was that his wife's name?
Marsha. Yeah.
Yeah, someone to be like, you know what's a good idea?
Wow, Zack Snyder got co-written credits for the first movie.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
But you can feel the difference in like if Zack Snyder were to direct that first movie, it would not be as hopeful as the Patty Jenkins version of that movie.
That's true.
I could see him killing lots of dudes in that movie.
I can see that sword coming back in.
Right. All right, James.
I mean, my grade, I said it before, I'll say it on air. I gave it a C+ as well. I vacillated between a B- and a C+ at the end of the movie. And then the more and more I was thinking about it, you know, I was swaying more towards a C+. And I think, you know, I'm going to stick to that grade. I don't think it deserves anything lower than that. I know Mr. Keith, who's been texting me, is really angry he missed out on this. He's looking forward to telling you his F grade next week. But I don't think it was a terrible movie. There's a lot that I didn't like about it, but there was a few moments that I really enjoyed. So I couldn't, you know, say this was a trash movie. This was definitely not the worst of DCFU. But it's not a good sign. It's not a good sign where you have your best character in this universe fall flat like this compared to I'm comparing it to the first movie. I'm not comparing it to Shazam or Aquaman or Jail, none of those other movies. I'm comparing the benchmark it came out with. You know, first time at bat, boom, home run. Second time, you know,
single. Right?
Yeah, not a single. But yeah, I'll stick with my C+ grade, and I'm hoping that the Wonder Woman 3, that's what they're calling it. You know, like you guys said, it's, you know, better writer.
All right, what was your favorite scene?
Well, the beginning, the first 15 minutes.
That scary.
Okay. You know, that set the wrong expectations for me. You know, you guys should have seen me. I was hyped as fuck after that moment. high-fiving Eric and all that stuff, and then it went downhill. And then the next moment was when she was renouncing her wish. That still hits me now. If the movie came out right now on cable, I'm only gonna watch the beginning, and if anywhere near that scene, that's really it. I'm not gonna. If it's anywhere in that movie, I'm not watching.
All right.
James,
So
sorry, Chris.
No, go ahead, Brooks. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, what did Eric give the movie?
Give it a C+ also. We agreed on this. I'm agreeing.
Okay. So I'm gonna give it the highest grade as usual. I'm gonna go with a B, which I don't think is that high of a grade. I was thinking B, about the B-, but I think for me, again, I gave it a lot of bonus points for the performances. I thought the performances were solid. I thought the characters were all good and fine. I just think, again, it feels like that she didn't land the ending. And the first time was for a different reason than this time, but we're not nailing the ending. And I think the hopefulness is a good, antithesis to some of the other stuff we're getting. Not that I don't think all hero movies should be Shazam and Wonder Woman 84. So what I mean, it's good that they exist, and I like that there's something that is a little bit more hopeful and stuff. And my favorite scene is the scene in the mall, because I want the entire movie to be that. I want it to be a little campy, fun, fast. The action. It had action without it being, Zack Snyder, Batman in the warehouse kind of stuff. It was good. That's a great fight scene, but that's not a Wonder Woman fight scene. It could be, but it has to be the right situation. I like overall. I thought if the whole movie was more like that and let it be a little campy, let it be fun, it would be better, but I don't know.
Craig, have you watched any of the DC animated Wonder Woman movies?
Yeah, I saw Bloodlines, and I saw the one before that, the first one. I don't remember what.
Yeah, what would you put those movies? Where would you rank those movies compared to this live action edition?
I think they're more stable movies from beginning to end, but they all tell the same story. That's always the problem with them, is they always go back to her birth and her mom and the island. They all kind of tell the same story with a slightly different, bad guy. So I usually give those like a high B+ or something like that. They are better. They're more consistent. And I would like to see, the first Wonder Woman had a great warrior Wonder Woman, not only No Man's Land, but when she gets into that town and has to get rid of the tanks and she jumps. But that's war versus, I think that's a great combo. Like her in war and her in a mall, protecting a kid and just grabbing some doofuses. I think that can be the same person. I think she can still be the Wonder Woman who pulls the sword out to kill Doomsday if she's pushed. I would like to see that Wonder Woman. I think a lot of people like to see that Wonder Woman, but we have to see both.
I don't know. She can barely fight Cheetah, getting her metallic shield getting destroyed.
Yeah, that was a little.
This is the one that almost took down with Doomsday by herself without Superman. Come on.
Well, she did grab Cheetah by the head and tried to slam her into the ground, but Cheetah kind of rolled out of it. It was close to being cool, but yeah, I didn't need her to be just a tuck and roll.
Those wings look like they came from Blinds to Go.
Oh shit.
So it was all right. It was pretty cool, but I think it could have been pumped up a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's our Wonder Woman review. Let me ask you guys, for those, and unfortunately, Brooksy, you've only seen a couple, so you can still rate it if you want. I'm going to see where in the DCFU you would place this. Is it more towards the top, more towards the bottom, or more towards the middle? I'm not going to push you at numbers. Like, because we
This
have
specific movie.
yes, this
Or
movie.
the Wonder Woman series. Okay.
No. For all of DC film universe. So it would be like Man of Steel, Justice League, the two Wonder Womans, Aquaman, Shazam, and Batman v Superman. So
don't forget Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad. Yeah. So for me, this runs around the middle area because it's. I definitely think I would put Birds of Prey, Man of Steel, and first Wonder Woman above it. It's probably around a. It's above maybe Suicide Squad, maybe. It's not all the way at the bottom where I would place like BVS, Justice League.
All right, it's near the bottom, but for me, it's near the bottom, but above Justice League and BVS. It's right next to Suicide Squad. They're like kissing cousins.
Yeah, basically, because I wasn't mad at Suicide Squad, to be honest, but it wasn't that great of a movie.
Yeah. Yep.
What about you, Mike?
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same. So.
Okay. And Brooks, I guess we have some homework for you. You're gonna have to watch Shazam and Justice League.
Not a good one.
I feel like I've seen Justice League, but I will say the first Wonder Woman, I gave it an A. So I'll place that at the top. And then this one, I've seen all the other movies, not all of them. Some of them, and I just can't remember off the top of my head. So I'm gonna just place this one in the middle somewhere.
Perfect. It's exactly where it belongs.
Okay.
Now, hopefully next week, we won't maybe not do next week. We might take a week off. We'll see, because we have the new year coming up. We were supposed to take maybe this week off. We'll see.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays, whatever you're doing. I know Keith wanted to do a review. I'm sorry, Keith. You can, next time we talk, we'll have Keith do. But James, you mentioned something.
He can always send me 10 minutes on what he thought of the movie. I'll throw
That's
it up,
right.
So.
Nah, he wants the dialogue. He texted me already.
Okay.
Yeah. Brooks, James said something about you having questions that you would like answered by a geek. And so we might have a segment of Ask the Geek Question with Brooks. And I don't know.
I like that.
Because we have the answers. That's what makes us geeks.
Right. No, he did say that because
You did ask a question. What do you remember? What question you had asked him on the text?
I'm looking at the text right now. I think it was just her being a goddess.
Okay.
It was 3 questions. It was that. The next one was, what is Captain America's real name? And the third one, are all superheroes American outside of Black Panther?
Oh, that was a good one. I like that question. Are all superheroes American? And no, there's quite a bit of non-American superheroes, especially the farther out from the movies you get. But sticking to the more mainstream movie superheroes, there are a lot of American-based but all the action pretty much always takes place in like New York City or or Chicago.
It feels like it. Like the only one I could think of, again, this is only based off of watching movies that James has taken me to, was Black Panther. That was the only one I could think of that wasn't like quote unquote American.
Right. Well, I mean, technically Superman, Aquaman, and Wonder Woman are not American. They're all
and Wonder Woman.
Gods or aliens. So, all right. So what we'll do is, if you have any more of these questions, I want you to write them down and let us know, and we'll have a segment about it. All right.
Okay. I'm gonna write them down on my sticky note right here.
Awesome. Perfect. All right. That's where we are going to end for the night. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for our Wonder Woman 84 review.
Smash the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Follow us at Heroes Peak.
Please leave a comment as well. Leave a comment.
Yes.
We appreciate the feedback. And Happy New Year.
Happy 2021. Everybody crush your fingers for a good New Year.
Take this down.
Good
That's
riddance.
right. Good
I
riddance,
had a
good
great 2020, and I kind of feel bad about it. That's all.
All right. Good night.
night. All right. Wait.
What?
Hey,
Okay.
everyone.
No. Stop it. That got recorded, right? Because that's
Yeah.
my opening. That is the cold open right there.
Okay, I'm stopping the
I had a
recording
great
now.
2020, and I feel bad about it.